Let's do it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the EJG3 show. This is your host, Eddie Gallagher. I'm here today with a guest who is coming back, Connor Hilla. Welcome back to the show.
Hey man, hey man. Glad to be here. Good to see you. Ready to talk about
Absolutely,
some
absolutely.
ball.
Hey, we're into December football. How exciting is that?
It's coming down to the wire. Right now you're getting your clear leaders in the divisions and the playoff picture is getting a little bit more clear. And I'm just excited to see what changes happen here on out.
Exactly. Okay, let's start off with this. So Dallas, they played Detroit. They lost 44 to 30. Uh, there was a chance, hey, maybe the Cowboys will maybe creak into the playoffs.
Ah,
I don't think that's gonna happen now, but what do you think?
I agree with you. I think that they have a tough road ahead of them. I think they have I was looking at the rankings or the NFC roster rankings here on out, and so they're definitely not going to win their division. That leaves them in 10th place in the NFC. They'd have to go ahead of Carolina, Detroit, and San Francisco to make it in as a wild card. I'm going to tell you right now, I think the NFC West is a threat. Outside of the Cardinals, everybody else is playing, peak football. Um, so I don't see the Niners dropping. The Lions, I think that they're back. I think that you saw that with the head-to-head against the Cowboys. They look pretty good. Carolina, it's been a couple years, but I think they're starting to right ship. I think Bryce Young's playing a lot better. He's still pretty short when he's standing in the backfield and he's in the pocket. He has a little bit of challenge, but he's making good contact with Tet McMillan. Their running back situation I know is what divided between Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle. But I like how the Panthers are playing. I don't think they're making the playoffs, but all this is to be said. I don't see Dallas making it in. They'd probably have to win out from here, right? They're sitting at 6-1, but I think their chances are pretty slim unless they go on an absolute tear, which to be fair, they could do. I know CD Lamb has a concussion, right? So I don't know how many weeks out he's out, but they still got George Pickens. George Pickens is pretty good at receiver, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But signs are pointing towards no.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a hard no for me. Look, Dallas fans they got all excited beating the Chiefs on Thanksgiving, which give them credit. I was shocked, but they came back and beat the Eagles. I was shocked as well. But let's be honest with you, with all of us, they got lucky versus the Eagles.
Yeah.
And, they were down 21-0. Seems like Eagles, they're collapsing. We'll get to them in a couple minutes. But the reason and you know what? I'm looking at the schedule right now. 4 losses on the road. You're not a playoff team if you can't win on the road. Now, look, I think Dak is playing great football. I think, he's definitely in the MVP conversation. But the reality is, this defense, I know Quinn Williams, it was exciting news, but they still can't stop the run. And that's the bottom line is that this defense is still not good enough.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. They shipped off their best defender in the offseason. Not that that would have made too much of a difference here, but I do think that that would have probably helped them. I don't necessarily think that their mindset right now is win now. I think that they're trying to build for the future. So whether or not they make it this year, I don't think that's, obviously everybody wants to win every season, but I don't think they're going to be too heartbroken if they don't make it in. But they are on the outside looking in as it stands, and I don't see a clear path for them to make it in. If they win out, they're still going to go what is that? 10-6-1 probably. They got 4 games left. So we'll see. We'll see. I think it's going to be a challenge. They have, I mean, let's look at their schedule. So they have Vikings coming up. Are they on a bye this week? I think they're on a bye. No. They just played. But they have Vikings next, then they have Chargers, then they have Commanders, and they have Giants. I mean, there's a very real possibility that they can go 4-0 in that last stretch. Chargers are going to be a little bit of a challenge. You have Justin Herbert is he's got an injury now, right? Didn't he do something to his
Yeah, yeah,
hand?
yeah, I think it's one of his hands is broken. Um,
Yeah,
but
they could and could.
Jaden Daniels coming back. He's gonna play this week, versus the Minnesota Vikings.
I
I
mean,
don't
their
know. I
defense is
mean,
old.
I just don't think they're gonna make the playoffs. And obviously George Pickens had a great year, but you're hearing some stuff coming out, which look, he had the opportunity to get the bag, but he's coming to be turbulence, and he was very turbulent in Pittsburgh.
Well,
And
that's
you
how it
saw
goes.
Richard Sherman call him out, and what do you make of him? Do you think they should sign him to a long term contract?
Pickens. What are they? Can they? Well, I was reading stuff earlier in the season that they would probably franchise tag him, which would be pretty interesting because I think the wide receiver market is really bloated right now. Not like salary wise. I think if you franchise tag him, what is that like an average of the top five salaries? Well, those salaries are like second only to the quarterback contracts. So I think that'd be silly. It'd be silly to sign him to that, but he's talented. I mean, he might be a locker room issue. I know that the Steelers' biggest export is unhinged wide receivers, so they're no strangers to that. But I do think the CD Pickens combo is one of the best wide receiver rooms in the league. Um, should they allocate a lot of their salary cap to him? That's to be determined. I'm not positive. Um, but yeah, I think they'd be silly not to consider it.
I don't think I would sign him. I think, you're putting yourself in if he can't get along in Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin, and now you're just hearing some stuff lately. But you know what? It's Dallas, so who knows? I mean, this will probably be dragged on till like April or March,
Yeah,
But yeah, no, look,
no
he's a great
contracts could be up.
talent, but he's not the maturest player. So that's my issue.
Well, you see, like I was saying though, you see that from Steelers wide receivers. They're a little bit of an issue in the locker room, then they go somewhere else, and those issues get exacerbated. I mean, Antonio Brown, what was it? Chase Claypool had some issues. Juju's actually fine, but yeah, I mean, it's like without fail, they 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 dish them out before they become a bigger issue.
Yeah, no,
So
I
we'll
hear
see.
you. Okay, so let's move on to my next topic.
All
So
right.
the Bills beat the Steelers, and the Steelers fans were chanting "Fire Mike Tomlin" during Renegade. Do
Yeah.
you think it's time for the Steelers to move off Tomlin?
Yeah, so this is gonna go into my college thoughts. Pennsylvania has a real challenge with mediocrity right now, right? With Penn State, they got rid of James Franklin because he wasn't able to win the big
Well,
ones,
they just hired Matt Campbell.
right? Iowa State. So, well, he did some good work over there. But my point being is, I mean, I'm using that as an example of the Penn State Nittany Lions weren't afraid to fire a really good James Franklin that consistently brought their team to 9-3, 10-2. This season being an outlier, yes, but the sentiment behind that was you're you're always going to get us right there, but never over the edge. So let's bring it back to the NFL. Mike Tomlin has, for what, the last 20 seasons or so, had an above 500 record.
Yeah,
I
he
think.
never had a losing season.
Right, right. And I mean, on paper, or when you just hear it, that sounds pretty great, right? The problem is they're not going much over 500. So they're above it, but they're not doing much more than that.
They haven't
Yeah,
won
they're
a
making
playoff game in 8 years.
yeah, with Big Ben. Well, after Big Ben, they had a slew of, weak quarterbacks. They had, Kenny Pickett.
Mason
Who's after that?
Rudolph, Russell
Mason,
Wilson,
Justin
Aaron
Fields was there.
Rodgers.
Yeah.
So,
So, so the thing is, in this situation, the same situation I was thinking with James Franklin is if you get rid of Tomlin, you have to have a better option, right? You like you don't like yes, he's batting in and around like 275 right now, right? Like if you look at it, like he's not amazing, but he's not terrible. You replace him with somebody you don't know who the floor is. I mean, you might not know what the ceiling is, but Tomlin's floor was 500. What do you do in that situation? Who do you look for? Who's better than him in the market right now? Because I believe if they let Tomlin walk, he's going to find another job in a heartbeat.
oh
In
yeah,
my
100%, 100%. Well, I'm not saying that Tom's a bad coach, but what I am saying is you gotta change something different. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers, you know,
Yeah,
and they're not like the Dallas Cowboys. They have a good owner, a good, you know, a good rounding team, good, good management. I just, I think it's time to move off. And you know
yeah,
what? Defense doesn't win games anymore. It's offense, and Tomlin's been a defensive guy. Look at all the money. It's all on the defensive side.
yeah. And they're aging. TJ Watt has how many more years in him?
Maybe three. I mean, he had some injuries. Um,
They made some good acquisitions in
Cam
the
Hayward,
offseason.
he's almost. I think he's 36.
How old's Jalen Ramsey?
I'm not sure, but I can look it up. Um,
Yeah.
but
But to your point, I agree. I think that you need to change things up. You have to think if you are Steelers ownership, what is your what is your goal? Is it to be in and around 500 or is it to be competitive in a very tough historically AFC North?
and the
In a
fact
very
that
tough historical division.
the fact that I know Bills have a good rushing attack, but the fact that they run it down the defense's throat for I think 230 plus yards, that's just unacceptable.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
their offense is bland. Look, I think Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Fame quarterback, but I think between me and you and everybody who's going to watch the show, he's done. It's over. I think he had a broken wrist on his left hand. He's just not that guy anymore. And plus, he's also blaming players. Oh, we go. You didn't look at the signal. Like, okay, people make mistakes. Just he always
Wow.
blames people, others. And it's just like, no, I think Aaron Rodgers is done. I think Mike Tomlin is done. I think they should move off. Now, look, I know they can win the division. I know they have a big game versus Ravens.
We'll see. We'll see. There's a
But
lot that happen.
this, like
Wide open
like you just
division.
said, this team is not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think that their best bet is to clean house, maybe have a couple years of rebuild, but get back to where they were when they're, winning all the Super Bowls with Big Ben. So
Exactly,
we'll see.
exactly. Now on the flip side, obviously they're facing the Ravens. Well, I get it, Lamar. I think he's injured, brother. I think Lamar just doesn't look the same.
I agree completely. He's definitely lost his stride this season, which is very uncharacteristic of his performance, right? He's not running as much.
Derrick Henry looks a little old. Um, I mean, I know he had a big game versus the Bills, but the Bills' defense is absolutely awful. That team they just have a fumbling problem. I mean, Dave Flowers, Lamar, Derrick, bad vibes. We talk about Tomlin might be out the door. Could Harbaugh be out the door if they don't? I mean,
If Harbaugh's out the door, he's getting picked
and
up in
no,
a
just like
heartbeat.
Harbaugh. I mean, just like Tomlin, Harbaugh's a great coach too. So it's about expectations.
I was I was seeing conversation where Harbaugh leaves the Ravens. What's a good spot for him? You ready for this? Michigan. Have him run it back with the Wolverines, where his brother won a championship. Because I think that their head coach right now is not long for the chopping block. We could
Yeah,
have a
no,
whole
I
conversation
look.
about the college
Obviously, I
landscape,
think
but
that's a great story. but he's not
No,
going to
it's
mention. I
nonsense.
look.
It's
I
not
wouldn't
gonna
fire
happen.
Harbaugh because I I just think it could be just a down year.
It is. Yeah, it's an outlier year. Usually they handily win the AFC North, but not this year. So
Um, but do you think they'll win the division now?
we'll get to that.
I
We have
mean, don't
another
be biased,
section.
but do you think? My bad. Should they be the front runners to win the division? Sitting here today.
Well, they are right now, record-wise, right? They're in first tech on the technicality, but they have not looked as strong as they have been historically. And I do think that the AFC North is wide open. I think there's too much that could happen, too much that can change. You're probably looking at a 9-8 AFC North team making the playoffs, which I think is crazy. But there is a path for three separate teams to make it, and we'll see what happens. But
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
they have a head-to-head with the Steelers, right?
Um, yeah, I think so. I
I'm
have to
looking.
look.
Yes, they do. Tomorrow or Sunday, 12/7, 1 o'clock, Steelers Ravens. I like the Ravens for that game. I think
I do
most
too.
people do.
But I like Pittsburgh with the points. Hearing all the rumors about Mike Tomlin being fired, I
Oh yeah,
think
light a fire
I
under
think the
him.
Steelers come out with some energy.
Yeah, but
But
let's look at the Ravens season for the let's look at their schedule for the rest of the season. They got Steelers. They got the Bengals after that, which we just saw what happened there on Thanksgiving. Then you got them playing the Patriots. I don't need to tell you where we're at right now with the Patriots, but they are on fire. Not hard teams, but then you got the Packers, and then you finish it off with the Steelers again. So they're not winning
so
all of those games.
I'm gonna say they beat the Steelers, they beat Cincinnati, they beat New England. I think they lose to Green Bay, and then maybe they already locked up the division. And I'm gonna say they win versus Pittsburgh.
Okay, okay,
So I
I
think
see
they win
that.
the division, but again, if they lose to Pittsburgh and if they lose to Cincinnati, back to back games, that'll be three. They'll be on a 3 game losing streak.
Going
That's
into
tough.
a very tough Patriots team. Like I,
Yes.
I don't think the Patriots are as bad as you're saying. I understand they've been
No,
playing
no,
some
no. They're
games.
they're they're good. No, no. The Patriots are good.
Yeah, I understand that like every team they've played has will all be not making the playoffs. But yeah, I mean they have a tough I mean in the Packers, we could have a conversation about them too. They look all right. I know that they have some chinks in their armor, but they seem like they're kind of getting a handle on it. We'll see.
Okay. Man, this is such a it's been such a weird year in the NFL.
I know it's anybody's league right now. There's not a
And
clear front runner.
the fact that Kansas City may miss the playoffs is wild. And
I
they
know.
have a tough game on Sunday night. And that's the Houston Texans and the Chiefs O line. I think there's 3 starters that are injured. Connor, I gotta be honest with you. I think I said it in the earlier beginning. I said the Chiefs are winning the division. The Broncos will. I feel like I'm correct on that. And I thought the Chiefs would make it out of the wild card spot. But man, they don't have any tiebreakers.
They don't have
They
any
don't have
tiebreakers.
tiebreakers over the Jags. They don't have tiebreakers over the Bills. They don't have. If they lose to Houston, they don't have any tiebreakers against Houston. The Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes could miss the playoffs.
Yeah. Never thought I'd live to see the day, right? You're absolutely right. And I think for a lot of the same reasons with the Cowboys not making the playoffs, you're seeing that with the Chiefs. They have a tough, tough road ahead of them if they want to make a wild card spot. Mind you, they're not second in the AFC West. They are third behind your Broncos and your Chargers. The only team worse than them is the Raiders. I mean, and it's not anything
I mean,
special.
look, if they do make it to the playoffs, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt because they are champions. They would be theoretically dangerous, but this is not a dangerous team at all.
No.
I'm I gotta tell you,
Mahomes is looking tentative. He's not making good contact with his receivers.
and the defense are giving up big plays.
Yep.
I I mean, look, don't tell me that Mahomes doesn't have enough weapons. Don't tell me that this defense is not good enough. This is just an old. I feel like this season is on Mahomes.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think like I said, I don't think he's playing his best ball. He's not as confident as he was. I mean, I will say last year also they didn't look like they were the star. They didn't look like their record reflected, right? Didn't they go 16-1?
Um, no, I think they went like 15-2, but I think they were like 11-1
Yeah,
in
then
one score
wasn't
games.
their only loss to the Broncos in the last game of the season?
No, Bills beat them.
Bills beat them. Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right. They just don't look that special. Um, it's almost the end of an era. We'll see how they bounce back next year, but this is definitely an off year for them.
Yeah, and if you're the Texans, slay the dragon. This is you have the defense to do it. Just get over 20 points. Just I know
Yeah,
the offense for Houston's offense is not that good. Their defense is amazing. I think they're going to get after
oh,
Mahomes.
their defense is insane. You see them
Oh,
against the Bills?
I know 8 sacks. I know. I watch. Their
That's right. That's
defense
right.
is absolutely legit. Um. So yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting game. Okay, let's go to your Bengals. Connor, I am shocked that Joe Burrow returned.
How about the narrative before and after he came back? So before he comes back, everybody's like, "Well, why is he playing? Why? Well, what's the point? It's a lost season. You're sitting at 3-8. There's no chance. You're not going to do anything." And he comes out and says, "I'm a competitor. I'm paid to play a game. I want to do that." So he comes back, does a very good job against the Ravens on Thursday night, Thanksgiving ball. And now the narrative's shifting a little. I'm not saying that they have an easy path, and I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but they're only 2 games back. And I know we talked about this a little bit already, but they're only 2 games back from both the Ravens and the Steelers. And it's almost like their destiny is in their hands. If they win out, some other things that are out of their control go their way, you might be seeing you might be seeing the top spot in the AFC North go to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Which is
Things have to be perfect. I'm not unrealistic. I understand how unrealistic that sounds, but there's a chance.
it's
Sitting at
very
4-8.
possible. I mean, look, we said it. Lamar does not look healthy. Pittsburgh is not good. So they have the best offense probably in the NFL, even
And
though
the worst defense.
and the worst defense in the NFL.
Yep,
Which
yep.
really, if they had a mediocre defense,
That's all we ask
this
for.
team would probably be the favorites in the AFC.
Yeah, that's
But
all we ask for is just a 16 ranked defense in the league. We don't need you to be top 10. We just need you to be good enough where our offense can go off. Burrow can pass through his weapons. He can hand it off to a very good Chase Brown. We have a good tight end and Noah Fant. So I agree. I'm with you. Our offensive line's atrocious, but Burrow makes it work.
and I mean, obviously, it pains me to say this, but they have a real. Burrow is 2-0 versus the Bills.
Yep.
He probably
Yep.
would have been 3-0. Unfortunately, DeMar Hamlin fell down. The game was postponed, but they were looking like they were going to win that game.
Yeah, I mean, I already know
But
what the
hold on, hold on,
expected.
hold on, hold on.
Sorry, you're up. You're up. My bad.
The Bills' defense is not good. The Bengals' defense is not good. The spread is 6 or 5.5 in some books. Counter. If the Bengals get the ball last, they're going to drive down that field and get a walk-off field goal. Uh, because No Joey Bosa. I think Espinoza might not play. Who's going to rush Joe Burrow? I mean, Ed Oliver's out. The Bills, they don't have a good. You don't really need to chuck it, even though Bengals love chucking it. I mean, the Bills' run defense is bad. This is a very dangerous game for the Bills, and I don't know how this game's going to look, but it's scary.
I agree. I think the Bengals are disruptors this year. I think they're a dangerous team to play, especially with Burrow back. You're not dealing with Jake. We're not talking Jake Browning Bengals. We're not talking Joe Flacco. We're talking about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow in the last 365 days of NFL, Joe Burrow is undefeated. I think he is 8-0 in his last 8 starts. Mind you, he's been injured, but every game he has started, they have won. So I'm not saying anything. I'm knocking on all the wood I can find. The Bengals win this game. You're going to see some conversations happening.
Speaking of conversation, you know, we've always said who's the second best quarterback in this generation.
Hmm.
We know Patrick is one because he has the trophies, but we always debate who's number two. Omar was in the mix, Allen's in the mix, Joe Burrow's in the mix. I believe Joe Burrow's the best pocket passer. But with that being said, he also has the best weapons out of every. But we just saw Lamar Jackson couldn't really throw the football. I mean, he's a better thrower of football, but he's not Joe Burrow. He's not Josh Allen.
Yeah. Um,
And I believe if Joe Burrow had a good defense, we would be talking about him being his best quarterback in the NFL.
I think that last year he had MVP numbers, and the only thing holding him back was that they missed the playoffs at 9-8. I think if they make the playoffs, I think if they beat the Patriots in week 1 last year and they go 10-7, I think that you really have a serious conversation about who deserves MVP last year. But that's last year. Um, I think something that you cannot avoid is the conversation that Joe Burrow is injury prone. And it sucks. I hate that, but that's something you have to consider that he's missed quite a few games from injuries. Now, a lot of that's because his O-line can't defend him worth a crap, but he's going down and he's also exposing that he is such a good quarterback and piece to his team that the team flounders when he's not there. Um, yeah, he's the position of quarterback is very multifaceted. Obviously, I think people say it's like the most important position in all of sports because you are just a field general, you are in charge. Um, but he is doing his darndest to will them into the playoffs.
Yeah,
And if he
you know
does,
what?
how cool of a story would that be?
This is why I love football. Football players want to play. Basketball
Yeah,
players in this position, they would probably sit out. Uh,
ain't that the truth?
um, I want to talk on the other side. Um, Connor, I know I still don't think the Bills have a wide receiver. I know Dalton Kincaid maybe coming back, but I'm very and James Cook is special. I'm not worried about James Cook, but they just don't have a wide receiver.
Who are they working with? What's their roster? I think
Keon
Dalton Kincaid is coming
Shakir,
back. Oh, Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman and who else?
um, you got Gabe Davis,
Oh, Gabe Davis.
Brandon Cooks now in the mix. They're just the list is fluid. I just don't think they have a wide receiver. I mean that
Yeah,
they can count on.
but it's almost like Josh Allen doesn't need a receiving core. He just needs a running back that defense focuses on so that he can just, peel away and get a first down or a rushing touchdown. He's a very physical, running quarterback.
Yeah, yeah, he has the most rushing touchdowns as quarterback.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's a threat.
but
There's a reason he won MVP.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But look, uh, it, I still don't think the Patriots. I mean, I think they're a better team than the Bills overall, but there's only one person that can beat the Patriots, and it's number 17, and
Yeah.
17 alone is
Yeah.
Like I'm
All
just being
right, I
honest, I
guess
just
so.
don't love this roster.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let's go to some college football. Um,
Well, why don't
Lane
we talk about your
Kiffin.
Bears?
No. We're gonna. Well,
All right,
that
all right,
segment's gonna cut out.
all right, all right.
Um, Lane Kiffin moves, goes to LSU. He's not gonna be able to coach in the playoffs. Two things. Number one, LSU is a better job. I would take that job in a heartbeat. Number two, I think yes, I would have loved to see Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin finish it out together. But if you're Ole Miss, he's gone. You don't allow him to coach in the playoffs. So that's number two. I think it sucks. I think this is not a Lane Kiffin issue. This is a college football issue. And you see coaches move on. It sucks. I don't like it. I wish Lane Kiffin stayed at Ole Miss. And if he wanted to leave at the end of the year, that's his right. But at the end of the day, this is a college football issue. And we don't have a leader in college football like we do in the NFL that can help change this. But it is what it is. Well, what are your thoughts on the Lane Kiffin move?
Damn it, Eddie. Everything you said is everything I was going to say. I think that you and me share a lot of the same opinions with that. Um, I was thinking about it, you know, yeah, this week, and I was trying to think, what is the issue? And I go back to the NCAA is not a strong enough governing force to put structure into the college football landscape. When you're dealing with 136 teams with varying levels of endowment, investment into the program, a Syracuse is not the same as an Alabama, and they will never be at that level. But they, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, they play at the same level. And with that, you're going to come with discrepancy, right? So in the NFL, you have 32 teams, and the top is much closer to the bottom than the top of college football and the bottom of college football. So you're going to have situations where the best teams kind of pull talent from the lower teams. The issue is not that Lane Kiffin left. The issue is when he left. I think there needs to be, and I think a lot of that has to do with the transfer portal window, and it has to do with, stealing recruits and making sure that you have the right amount of time to, build your team for the next season. We need to look at where did everything go wrong because think about how many teams right now in the college football playoffs are without a roster or a coach, without like, not just head coaches, but like supporting cast.
I think so. We just saw Tulane beat Coastal Carolina.
Yeah.
Tulane's Summerall
Summerall's at Florida.
going to Florida. I think he might coach in the playoffs. I don't. I'm not. I know he coached in the title game, but I'm not sure he'll coach in the playoffs. But with
Right.
that being said, yeah, this is a college football program,
Yeah, it's
college
a it's a
football
college
problem.
football issue. Yeah.
Because you know what? It sucks for Ole Miss. I feel bad for them, but
But they're not LSU. They're not like, you know what I mean? They're never
yeah,
going to be competitive at that. Well, they will. Lane Kiffin proved that they can be, but you need to fix that problem. I think coaches leaving in the middle of the season, or I mean at the end of the season before the playoffs, when they are fielding a very good playoff team, shows a broken system. And I mean it's not good for the fans, it's not exciting. Imagine how heartbroken the state of Mississippi is. You know, they are not a historically good program, but they are having a historical run, and now the rug is pulled from under them.
um, okay, real quick.
Sure.
Obviously, Selection Sunday, there's going to be a huge decision. Notre Dame, Miami. Who would you put in the playoffs?
It's a tough one, and I know that whatever I choose, the other side's gonna be, upset. You can't ignore the head-to-head.
You can't.
Miami beat Miami beat Notre Dame in the head-to-head at the beginning of the season. However, and resume speaks for itself. I understand the resume is the only thing that you can go off of. I think Notre Dame's a better football team. I think if they play that game again right now, Notre Dame wins that game. But it doesn't matter because that's all hypothetical. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Um,
that Miami should make it in ahead of Notre Dame, but I think Notre Dame's the better team, if that makes sense.
I think it's crazy that a group of 5 team automatically has to be in the playoff. I think it's crazy.
Not just one, I think two are making it in.
No,
I
I
think you
think it's
get
just one. I think it's just gonna be Tulane.
Tulane and James Madison, no?
No,
All right.
just Tulane.
Okay.
Uh, and then you talk about the ACCs. If Duke wins,
If Duke wins, you're not getting a single ACC team in the playoffs. Nor should you. Duke shouldn't get in. Duke shouldn't be allowed.
that just shows you how bad the ACC is. No, well, I think it's better. I think it's getting better as a conference, but just shows you how bad the ACC. I mean, Duke is giving up like 33 points a game. Um.
Duke
Anyways,
is 7-5 right now.
anyways, there's a lot of good football games, not just with college, but also with the pros. Connor, thanks for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
And make sure you like and subscribe to this video. See you next time.